Good morning. It is December 3rd, which of course is a Friday. So far, I have 3 stocks that I'm watching this morning. I'm going to go over those real quick. First one is TGHI. Of course, this is an OTC. Had a solid first green day yesterday, up over 100%. Closed near its highs. You can see it's kind of a sloppy daily chart though. It's kind of ugly across the past year. Doesn't really have sustained spikes. You could make the argument that this is a little bit of a sustained spike or right here, but it's choppy and ugly. So what I'm looking for on TGHI is a morning panic dip buy. I'd expect this to drop out of the open. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on level 2, waiting for that turn to happen. Hopefully hop in when that turn happens or slightly thereafter. Ride it for 5 to 10% and hop out. The next one is OWUV. Now this one has it's been quite the runner the past couple of days. So same thing on this one. I think we're overextended on this one. I would sincerely doubt that it can have a third day of strength, considering we're up from under 2 cents all the way up to almost 20 cents in like 8 days, 9 days, something like that. So looking for a morning panic dip buy. Now sometimes on morning panic dip buys you can kind of guess where it's gonna bottom out in the morning by looking at the previous day chart or historical charts of where support is. So we're looking, or resistance, because resistance becomes support. So looking at this chart, I would guess that this is going to panic somewhere down around 14 cents. Now we might not get that big of a panic. Morning panic dip buys haven't been dropping quite that much before a bunch of dip buyers come in and start holding it up. So it might not reach down to 14 cents. It might bottom out somewhere around 16. But I would be very surprised if this doesn't have a morning panic. So this is probably my number one watch on the day so far. Next one is CYBL. Now this one obviously broke down out of this wedge and has been going down since. Had a first green day yesterday, but it's a bounce first green day. So it's down so much it had a bounce day. So I would be surprised again if we had continued strength on this one, just because it's on the downside. The move pretty well has already happened. You know, we're 60% off the move, off the high. So I'm looking for a morning panic dip buy on this one as well. This one I wouldn't be surprised, probably around 0.2, maybe down to 0.19. You can kind of see how there's some support and resistance in this area. And so we'll see what happens. When it broke through 0.2, it actually had a pretty solid day yesterday. So that would have been a good way to play that. So we're going to keep an eye on this one and see if it has a morning panic dip buy. Not as convicted that there's going to be one on this stock today. Next up, we're going to go through the pre-market scan that I have set up and see what we have going. Now this pops up with stuff that has abnormal volume pre-market. So it sometimes has some good NASDAQs as well as good OTCs. So we're going to go down through them. MBRX, not really doing too much pre-market, not a lot of volume. Same with GGPIW, I don't trade warrants, so JG, a little bit of a move this morning, but nothing crazy. MEIP, this stock's been a little wild and extremely choppy. That's not gonna be on my watch list today. Iaic. Now this one had an interesting spike in the afternoon, but you can see how illiquid it is, and it's the first time it's traded over 1 million shares. Not really anything I'm interested in playing there either. Moho, nothing there. MTNB, that's a little bit of an interesting chart to me. Not saying that it's going to do anything today, but you can see how it's basing around 90 cents to $1. But the range really isn't there for any substantial move, I don't think. RDHL, of course that could have a gap fill if it had some strength, but not really showing anything right now. Same thing with AIOI. I don't know why that ticker was so hard to say, but same thing. Don't really like that one. Don't like that one. That doesn't have any range. AESE. So this is showing a little bit of a gap up this morning on some lighter volume, but the daily chart's not really anything I'm interested in. AEVA, same thing. So there, you can see there's a lot of white noise. So let me know in the comments if you like going down through this, or if you just like me picking them out prior to making the video. But it shows the process a little bit more this way. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Definitely nothing there. What? That's a little interesting, actually. But it doesn't have any range recently. But if we zoom in, then it still really doesn't have that much range. So not really interested in that. It's just interesting that it traded over $20 a share for so long, and now it's $2 a share. BFRI had a little decent bounce day yesterday, but it closed pretty weak, so I wouldn't really know how to play that one, so not on the watch list. That just hit 52-week lows, and it had a pretty good bounce off that, showing a gap up this morning. Still nothing that I'd really want to trade on. There's really just not that much going on this morning. Now this is a little bit of an interesting chart. I'm actually going to put this one on my watch list. Doesn't have a ton of range, but could be good for a scalpier type breakout play. So you can see it's consolidating near its highs here. It's gapping up a little bit this morning to the 190s. You can see, we'll zoom in, it's topped out at 194 here. So I'm going to add this one to the watch list. You know, it could break out over that and have a little bit of a move to it, but it really doesn't have a ton of range, so not super interesting, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Now TOMZ, this one's actually pretty interesting. It's got a multi-month range break this morning pre-market on solid volume. You can see the volume in here is a lot more than it usually is pre-market. So this is an interesting stock, and this one's definitely going on the watch list. You can see multi-month range break is really at 250 would be a point of resistance. So if we can get a strong move over 250 during regular market hours, this could definitely be in play, probably up until about $3, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we're going to put that one on the watch list for sure. We're going to watch for probably a dip and rip idea. You can see it's fading a little bit right now off from its highs pre-market. And we want to see it fade a little bit out of the open, and then usually about 15 minutes, 20 minutes into the regular market hours, we want to see it start rising. You know, the trend change is what we're looking for on that. And again, if you don't know what I mean by that, I'll give you a quick example. Now, it's not going to be a very good one because it's not a great trend change. But if you draw a line from the tops of the peaks, and then when it breaks over this line, if there's a change in the volume that comes through, so like if this candle here had higher volume than anything else, let's say 200,000, then that would be a pretty indicative of a trend change, and that's probably when I'd look to hop in. Sometimes I wait for a confirmation of the trend change because there's a lot of fake trend changes out there. I've been bit a few times by jumping in without the confirmation. But this is an interesting pre-market move, so definitely going to be watching this one. Fun is the next one. Now this is the only trade I took yesterday. I know I didn't do a recap, but I lost money on this one yesterday. Right here, hopped in at 390-ish, and then it stopped going up in sympathy to DWAC. DWAC had the same move, started breaking down, and I sold right in here at 380. Pixie hit 52-week lows, showing a bounce pre-market, and 171% increase in revenue. So that's actually an earnings winner. So this could be a little bit of an interesting mover today as well. Doesn't have a ton of range recently, but it could move. So we'll throw that one on the watch list as well. The way that I'd play Pixie, same idea, is a dip and rip. out of the open. And the reason that the dip is good is it sucks in overeager short sellers, and then if it starts going against them, then they have to cover, and it adds into the spike. So we'll keep that one on watch. Nothing doing, nothing doing. Nothing really there. Definitely nothing there. 52-week lows, not looking great. That's about it. That's all I got on my pre-market scan. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do an outline of the scans that I use, and the parameters that I set for those, and I'll see what I can do on that. And we'll throw that in the Trading 101 video series. So make sure that you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the pre-market watch list there. We do these every morning, and we also have the usual daily recaps of how I did for the day unless something comes up. We also have the Trading 101 video series that I just mentioned. So best of green days to you. Let's get it.